Okay, I was able to get a hitch back out here, and I decided as long as I am wasting time, I might as well waste time. I am taking one of my rare opportunities in town to go down and get coffee that is not via packets. I have friends that really dislike Starbucks, and I get it from the kind of anti-corporate sentiment. But you know, when you're in the middle of nowhere and it's like gas station coffee and crappy hotel coffee, they are decent and consistent. And they have also been very friendly to me as a stinky hiker wandering into various stores in various places, which I have always found kind of interesting because at a corporate level, they have changed a lot of their stores to make it less friendly for people to hang around in the stores. So I was trying to explain that to Jen. In my IT consulting days, like I ran into people that were running complete jobs out of a Starbucks for like 6 to 8 hours a day. Always felt incredibly inconsiderate. This is why we can't have nice things and all of that. So I got the last of my 7 or 8 days of videos uploaded, so I should be good to get down to Amicalola. Though, as it turned out, the lodge I was thinking I'd stay at is completely booked, so that's going to get a little more complicated. Oh, I do miss having views of the sky. Feels like I've been lost in the woods forever out here. Considering how much we paid for this hotel, I am going to hang around till checkout. I need to go through my resupply at least once more, and then try and download a couple of things. And then my guess is I'm gonna have to try and get an Uber or something to get me back to trail. Looks like it's kind of messy hitching out of here. I'm leaving here at 11 o'clock. Currently trying to get an Uber or a Lyft back to trail, which doesn't seem to be easy. Okay, I was able to get a hitch back out here, and I decided as long as I am wasting time, I might as well waste time. I have always just had an unapologetic love of roadside attractions. And behold, my favorite piece of evidence since that old internet video about the banana being the atheist's nightmare, Bigfoot's butt print. And for that little fun side trip, my reward is I get to walk another 0.8 along this road. So I had actually been waiting, trying to get an Uber to pop up, and I got frustrated, started walking, stuck my thumb out, and somebody stopped before I even got out to the main road, so I didn't have enough faith, I guess. A lady with 2 little baby twins drove me straight from about a block from the hotel out here to the Bigfoot Museum. And that is where I popped out yesterday. So all I have to do is play Frogger once again. Okay, finally. Back to the woods and quiet, and at least traffic being moved off in the distance. So that was a stupid expensive hotel, but as Jen said when I reacted to how much she paid for the night, like sometimes it's just the cost of doing business. Other than knowing not to come to Blue Ridge this time of year, apparently, it looked like it would be reasonable. You know, multiple hotels and everything, reasonable sized town. It's a Thursday night. I lined it so it wasn't on a weekend, but foliage tourists apparently. Also, there's an apple festival for the lady that picked me up, and some sort of art in the park thing. So yeah, confluence of events, I guess. Or as I would put it, I got International Balloon Festival again. But that's okay. I am back on the trail. I am headed southbound. I am 50, 60 miles from Springer, whatever it is. I have a hotel waiting for me that is sub $100 in Deluga on the night of the 27th. and I have a couple of relaxing days before the weather kicks in here. It does look like this next storm is going to be a number of days. Fortunately, it at least partially straddles my day off trail, 27th, 28th, so there's that at least. But I guess I will be starting the Foothill Trail in the wet. That one, I do not have the option to get off trail. All I have is at the far end, I'm gonna road walk, and there is not even a bed and breakfast, it is a bed and barn that Jen found. It was super excited to host a hiker. They've never done it before, because most of the time people just do the Bartram or the Foothill Trail. I guess they're not trying to link the two of them together. And yeah, so we have a box and a reset there, and that'll get me up to Franklin on the Bartram. See, that sort of like rustic-ish cabin off in the woods somewhere is where I would really prefer to live. I got really excited briefly when we were on the CDT because Jen and I thought we might be able to get a cabin up in the mountains up above SoCal. Unfortunately, we were basically a few years too late on that. The prices all went crazy due to Airbnb and everything else. So alas, that isn't going to work, which mixed blessing, honestly. The more you have something like that, the more you have kind of a money pit, money drain. Maybe you have equity, depending what happens, assuming the prices always keep going up, but it's also an anchor that we don't particularly want. I think the big appeal to me, other than potentially being able to get rid of our storage locker, which, is where all our hiking gear and everything stays and seems to eternally go up, was some amount of permanency, and I wouldn't have to fear quite as much that circumstances were going to push us back into like a small apartment in a heavily populated area, which is part of what made me go screaming off into the woods in 2019. Unfortunately, the only place that really existed close enough where Jen could sleep there every night due to her school commute all either burned down or are heavily affected by the last set of fires, or they are cabins on national forest land and you're not allowed to have them as your primary residence. There we go, hikers only. It is just kind of idyllic today. Per the weather report, I've got one more day like this, and then the multiple days of storms come in the evening of the following day. This kind of last minute scramble to get out and hike and doing multiple shorter trails has been kind of an interesting experiment, just as far as how content I am out here. I was replying to some question online about somebody who was struggling with the fact they had just finished a through hike, and ever since getting back, little trips, weekend stuff, day hikes just didn't have the same magic. And that is something that I have majorly struggled with ever since doing the PCT. Things that used to seem like a huge adventure, like going up and climbing some Sierra Peak, or just doing a, quote unquote big 50-mile weekend loop out somewhere. I think a big part of it is just I knew I could do it at that point. And that's always been one of the things. The peak bagging in the Sierra, like going up Arrow, it's great. I get a real thrill out of being up high, but there has been a certain kind of progression from the days of looking up at something like that and going, oh my God, how am I going to get up that? To looking, going, okay, third, fourth class route. Yeah, I'll be able to do that. Short of something going wrong, I am capable of doing that. And so the last couple of years before the big change in 2019, even. It was starting to kind of lose that excitement / new car spell. I mean, part of that I had shifted over to doing more student trips for the wilderness travel course, because there at least I get to bring other people out, and I got to take them to these remote areas and peaks, which weren't the hardest, but they were really cool areas. And I got to use my judgment and take them out to see things that I thought were absolutely amazing versus things that are decidedly on the, oh yeah, it's cool, but a little meh side, like, oh, I don't know, Whitney, the other busy things out in the Sierra. And I think that's partially why I went so hard into scuba diving there for a while. I mean, I did like 230 some dives my first year after getting certified, and all over the place too. They weren't little dinky dives, but it was just kind of pushing me, and like I said, sense of adventure, sense of not really knowing internally that I would be able to handle that. And you can see from kind of the progression of trips I've been doing, you know, PCT, obviously first one, that pushed me big. AT, maybe not as big of a challenge, so what do? I turned it into the Eastern Continental, huge challenge. How the heck am I going to do some 5,000 mile hike? CDT Redline, which in and of itself was probably a harder challenge than the entire ECT. And then stuff like the American Discovery Trail and other things we have planned. The Mississippi, I mean, we had kayaked before, we had canoed before, but that was also pushing us in different directions. And I am very much not an adrenaline junkie, especially the more I do, the more people I know that have been hurt and or killed doing outdoor activities. And in a lot of cases, these were not extreme activities. The number of people that I know who died from just bog standard climbing accidents is really sad, and it's just kind of a reality of kind of the community, unfortunately. I do like things that feel like they push me, and I do just like being out here. I mean, that's why I don't even pay attention to certain activities, you know, FKTs, etc., that are more about kind of, yes, they're about the challenge, but it's also more an accomplishment versus enjoying the time on trail. I like to push myself. I don't go super easy or anything, but I also don't have the drive to do something in a way that's going to make me completely miserable just to be able to say, oh, I did this in XYZ. Hence why now, as I keep looking into future plans, I keep kind of drilling into the important bits. Like there was a long distance walk across Japan that looked interesting. Big question though is, what are the sleeping arrangements? I am not going to sleep in hostel bunks. Those are just, that would suck too much of the enjoyment out of me. So if there are affordable rooms, if there is camping options, I'll do pretty much everything. I will walk through East St. Louis and the Kentucky Plains in August, obviously. Kansas Plains in August, obviously. But yeah, I just gotta have something where I can just kind of lose myself into the enjoyment of being out here. And honestly, peak bagging, there was a big component to that also. There's just something that kind of makes my soul sing when I am running around in the high Sierra with those spectacular views. The thing I wasn't sure about on the shorter versus longer trails is I found when I was doing the PCT, I had done dinky little things like, you know, the John Muir Trail, a couple 100 miles, the Theodore Solomon Trail. I had tried the Condor Trail, and then I went back and I did the full thing later. But with all of those, while there are periods where you are in the middle, there was always a sense of, I started here and there was an end up ahead. Versus when I get out on a long trail, there is no end. I think it was when I did the interview with Constantine on his podcast. He had some question about what is being on trail to you. And to me, the thing that I keep chasing out here, the thing that I enjoy existing in is this kind of feeling that I've been out, quote unquote, forever, aka I don't feel like I just popped out of civilization, and that there isn't a reachable end in front of me. I'm just out here existing for however long. I mean, obviously there is an end at some point. I have a date where I have to fly out, but at least at the moment, that's way too far ahead to really seriously kind of, I can contemplate it, but it doesn't really feel real to me, I guess. So I wasn't sure if I came and did something short. I mean, I do shorter things in spring, but those were always very much with a focus on I'm training up. You know, even when like I did the Condor Trail, I really enjoyed it, but the entire time, every time I was getting scraped bloody internally, I was just like, oh, well, you know, this is prepping me for the CDT. CDT is going to be hard. I go through this, it's going to feel so much easier because, hey, CDT might be brutal, but I'm on trail. And at the time, I was very much, you know, crawling through brush and everything. So here in the post-illness trips, I did have a series of these kind of like 200-300 mile trips, and I didn't have something concrete I was prepping for. Huge difference between, oh, I'm doing the Grand Enchantment Trail for getting in shape for the CDT or something like that, and oh, I have some extra time at the end of the year, so I'm going to do this sort of thing. And I have managed to lose myself. There is a big part of me that misses being on a longer adventure. Don't get me wrong, these are impressive trails. You go back 2019 or before, me walking 300 miles would just blow me away, but there's something fun about when you run into people in town or other places and they're looking at you like, oh, you look like you've come far. What are you doing? And you say you've walked, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 miles to get here. I just love the going big adventure aspect of that. Though the funny thing is I am always a little sheepish at the beginning. I guess I've just seen too many people, particularly online, proudly proclaiming that they are going to do XYZ big thing, hike BAT, etc., only to give up after not very long. But I do miss the being on a longer adventure, even if here I can make a claim to being 500, 700 miles into a 1,000-mile adventure. And I mean, hell, even that is impressive, right? 1,000 miles is 1,000 miles, but kind of similar to how I just reject the option of flip-flopping at a gut level. It's just less adventurous. There's something about, you know, talking to somebody and hearing they're going from A to B walking 1,000 miles that to me is just more impressive, more of an adventure than, oh, well, I walked from here to here and then I got a ride over here and then I did this and then I did this. There are times when you have to do that sort of thing, but, you know, if I have the option, I quite clearly know what appeals to me. So I really like the longer trails. As long as I'm making the sacrifices to be able to do them, I might as well do them, right? If I had other issues and I had to go back to doing shorter things, I'm sure I would find some amount of contentment in there. But it is funny. I mean, when I was working, even doing something like the Wachita, which I've looked at several times, like that would have been long to me. And at the time, I could have afforded the travel easier than I could the time. And here I am, and I regularly have the time, but it's like, well, I can't really justify that much cost. I really tried to take advantage of the shorter haul, so I wasn't as weight sensitive and actually having access to, you know, a reasonable store with fruit and everything. As far as the rest of this trail, I did spend a good amount of time last night looking ahead, but that was more like the Springer area. Looks like here I do have another road walk. It's past the store I used to resupply when I came through here on the ECT. It's just on the other side of this hill climb. So it looks like I either do about 6.5 miles today, or I gotta push on to 10 something to get on either side of the road walk. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. It's 1 o'clock, so road walk may be pushing around dark. I basically have the rest of today, 2 full days, and then the following day I need to get to Springer, and I have only about 50 miles ahead of me. So I do have some miles to do, but not quite as much in a rush as I am sometimes. Just ran into the first person in a while going the other way. He was out here sectioning, and it was funny. His trail name's Jack. I said, "Oh yeah, I did the AT in 21." He's like, "So did I." There were so many people out there, and people were jumping every direction. We don't think we cross paths, but who knows? It just always puts a spring in my step getting to chat with people who are excited about outdoor stuff. Part of me is a little tempted to stop on this side of the road walk. Then I could do the road walk in the morning, and Iron Bridge Cafe has breakfast and coffee, but I don't think I'm quite done walking for the day. Hey, glamping. That looks expensive. You know, I think I remember this. I feel like I was out on that deck when there were like families that were day hiking out here. Okay, rough plan. Do the road walk. There is a restaurant near the other side. I was kind of tempted to go there, since then I wouldn't have to eat mashed potatoes my last day before Springer, but they're really expensive and mostly seafood based. I might see if I can fill up my water though, because once I get to the far side of the road walk, there is not water in the near term. Well, good thing I wasn't in the mood to eat. Okay, so they were nice enough to fill up my water, so I'm good for the night. I just have to get to the end of the road walk. Okay, these were the folks that I remember. This was my resupply when I came across on the ECT. Sadly, they seem to have a lot more limited hours than the Ritzy place, so nothing for me. Hey, Ritzy. Walking bridge. Man, I haven't been being wimpy today. I've only come like 13 miles, and I am dragging. Coffee buzz must have worn off. I don't have much further, and I leave the road and head up on a ridge, and I'll be able to find a campsite up there reasonably soon. Oh yeah, this is the thing that I remember. Ooh, ultimate fun buck. So this is the guy I've seen on far out comments. a fair amount of people out here. Granted, a good chunk at least are day hikers and such, but that is just really cool. I almost feel bad not taking anything. If I hadn't splurged and got some emergency Skittles, I would have taken those, but I probably don't need more Skittles for this little hop to Springer. Maybe I should have taken advantage of some of their water bottles. So technically I could filter out of this. I am pretty sure I have drunk worse over the years. But as always, I try to avoid filtering out of roadside water sources anymore if I can avoid it. Okay, well, either 1 mile and one hill and I camp, or else if I go almost 3 miles and do another hill or two, there is another option. Or I just disperse camp. The terrain has gotten a little more friendly to that. This is what this campsite is named after, teepees. There was somebody quite indignant that there weren't actually like canvas teepees for them to sleep in, because of course there was. And this is the nice campsite nearby. I think this is going to be home sweet home today. I'm feeling kind of wimpy. Okay, 6:50. And hey, I came 14 wimpy miles. Very mild miles. I've just been dragging. But hey, that's not bad considering I left at 11. It took me a little while to hitch back, and I took time to go through the Bigfoot Museum. So highly valuable, productive day here. Tomorrow should be the last of the sunshiny, nice weather. And then the day after that is when the rains arrive. We'll see what time and how much and all of that. And then I think I get to Springer the day after that. So it's going to be a wet start to the Foothill Trail. Home sweet home.